Hey guys, today I have the review I know you've all been waiting for, the 2020 Ford Transit van. So I'm guessing you detected a little bit of sarcasm in my voice, and that's because this is not really the type of stuff we usually review, but it's kind of a happy accident we ended up with this thing. And we'll cover pretty much anything Ford powered, so while I had it for a day, I figured I'd just give you guys a walk around and look at the Transit van and how it's changed. It got a facelift and a new dash. This is the passenger version, and I don't know how many passengers it is. I think it's 12, it might be 15. The thing's freaking huge inside. Let me click it's got the old school style key fob that actually has a key, but open up all the doors here. Only has one side door, but this thing is cavernous inside. So of course you've got your two front seats, a little walk-through area, and then it just goes 3, 3, 4 across in the back. And check that out. Get to ride 4 wide back here. The seats are pretty small. I'm guessing this is like Duggar family or church van type stuff. You know, take the kids to summer camp. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what this particular model would be for. But I could see a lot of guys getting one of these because it has a nicely finished interior with the panels and roof liner, you know, headliner in it and everything. And check it out, it's got a ton of lighting as well. And then of course you've got the AC vents in the roof. I could see guys taking one of these, pulling the seats out of it and doing some urban stealth camping in one of these things. You can just black out the windows. I mean, they're actually pretty dark from the factory. You could probably put some limo tint on them and you wouldn't even be able to see inside the thing. But yeah, they've added quite a few new features. We've got airbags in the roof now. And this is one of the things I like. Got cup holders everywhere, but the cup holders also have little USB ports next to them. So everybody can charge their devices while they're going down the road. Has a step that comes out automatically here when the door is opening. Speaking of doors opening, this is one of the things I thought was weird. That's how far the driver and passenger door open, and you would think it would just come out like one more click, but it doesn't. That's it. So it's a little narrow stepping in here. Of course, you've got a step. You can pull this panel off right here, and that's where the jack and tools to change spare tire are. The front seat's not bad. It's sort of that, I don't know what Ford calls this material, but I call it like a sport cloth. It's something like a duffel bag would be made out of. It's probably pretty robust, and I doubt it would stain or anything like that, so probably holds up halfway decently. The armrests here are interesting. So you can put them all the way down, and then they sort of ratchet up, and you can probably hear that clicking, and they'll stay put, you know, at whatever angle you want it at. Then you just put it all the way back, and you can start over. If you want it at that angle, it's fine. New dash, much better than the old one, of course. USB and 12-volt charging ports, all the more modern Ford accoutrement on the dash. Sort of reminds me of the European Fiesta ST that we don't get anymore. Got a shifter still mounted there. You don't have the little rotary dial like they're putting in everything else, so I like that. Interesting fact, the Transit van is actually available with a 6-speed manual in a lot of other countries, but it's one of those deals. We don't always get the best and most fun things here in the US. So we have the 10R80 automatic. Of course, you've got multi-zone climate control, and check that thing out. It's cavernous back through there. Looks like a small airplane. Tons of storage. I like how they've molded in little rubber mat here, so you can put a lot of stuff across the top of the dash, and luckily there's not enough horsepower to get it to fly out into your face. Have a little pocket here that for some reason it says don't put a cell phone in. This is actually a budget rental. I'll tell you the story on that a little bit later, but I don't know why you wouldn't put your cell phone in there, because it looks like a good place for it. Then you've got like this sort of utilitarian spot and cup holders galore. Again, more storage space down the door. This thing is loaded full of storage space. Let's go around to the driver's side. Now, I said this is a rental. It came from Budget, and been doing a lot of one-way rentals. So I picked this thing up in Florida, brought it back to South Carolina, one-day rental, $26. That's how I ended up with this thing. So like I said, it's a 2020 model. You can see it still has the stickers on the wheels. They haven't even cleaned all that off yet. Speaking of wheels, check out that lug pattern. It's freaking huge. 5-spoke pattern, or 5-lug pattern. I guess it's 5 spokes too. This is actually a 350 model. So it rides like a 2006 F-150. Here's that door opening. That's as far as you get. You think it would go out just a little bit further, but it doesn't. Yeah, it rides like a 2006 like F-150. It doesn't ride like the most modern of Ford trucks, but it's not bad. It's definitely light years ahead of the old E-Series vans. And of course, we've got the same kind of switchgear and stuff we're used to seeing in Mustang and things like that. Ford, of course, just spreading the parts out as much as they possibly can. Same thing with the turn signals and all that good stuff. The steering wheel is not bad. I like how it has the little molded in thumb grips. I do not like vinyl steering wheels. I'll complain about that on everything, but I mean, it's sort of a utilitarian vehicle, so what do you expect? One thing that is really cool is up here in the dash for the driver, you've got another USB and 12-volt hookup. Speaking of dash, it's everything, everywhere is just hard plastic. There's no soft touch materials really anywhere. It's just all rock hard plastic. And that's really one of my complaints, really one of my very few complaints with this thing, other than like the door opening. You've got this huge spot right here to rest your arm, which is great. But this is just rock hard plastic, and it digs into the point of your elbow, and that kind of sucks after about 4 hours on the road. It would be nice if this was padded, but I mean, it's one little thing to complain about. You can, glue a pillow to it or something. There's always modifications to be made to everything. I just wish it didn't have to be to a door panel. Again, it's got the step in. It's light years better than the old E-Series vans. I've spent some time in those, and they were just punishing to drive, mostly because there was no room in the footwell. This one actually has decent amount of room. Got a nice little dead pedal built in here. Also have a second one up, so you got like multi-stage levels of for your feet, which is really nice. I didn't see if this thing did anything or not. Oh yeah, look, even more storage space. I guess it's another glove compartment. We have anything in here worth stealing? No. What we got? Oh, fancy locking lug nuts. I'm sure it's some weird metric size that would not fit anything though. So throw all Budget's junk back in here. You see? Rental. I'm gonna fix that later. Let's go around and take a look at the back of it though. I mean, even though you have all this passenger space, so it's Transit 350 from Florida, XLT, so get a little bit nicer interior. That's another one. Another thing with the door. This one, like, you think it's locked, but you just have to really pull on it to get it to open. Then you get the barn style doors, which is really nice, but check out the cargo space, man. You can fit a ton of junk back here. Again, look, USB port with cup holder. I don't know who's gonna reach back here to put a cup in. Same thing on this side, but it's there if you need it. A lot of space. It's a van, what do you expect? One of the cool things this has versus that Transit Connect we reviewed last year sometime, I think it was about this time last year, is the doors on this one will swing all the way around and then they lock in place magnetically. If you can unlock. So it'll open up all the way like that. So it's weird that the back doors open up properly, but the front doors are kind of like halfway. No hitch on this particular one. I'm sure that's an option that Budget probably doesn't want you towing with. But check out this bumper. It's got a really nice step on it, so plenty of space there. Climb in if you want to. Other than that, it's pretty much just a basic van. I have no idea what this thing cost. It's pretty new. It had like 1,800 miles on it when we picked it up. I drove it for about 5 hours. It's fine. It's nothing to write home about. It's definitely not a performance vehicle. It gets kind of ship mileage for what it is. It has a 3.5 liter V6. I think it's like 275 horsepower and 268 torque. It's matched up to a 10R80, but it only knocked down like 18 miles per gallon. Now granted, it is a brick, and I was in sort of a rush to get home, but still, traveling north on 95, I was kind of hoping it would get like 20. 21 would have been really nice, but 18 is kind of crappy. This is another thing that's sort of crappy, is seeing these old style floppy antennas. I'm used to the more modern stuff like the little shark fin. I thought the Ford would be done with stuff like this by now. The mirrors are really good. It has sort of Super Duty style mirrors with the spotter mirror in the bottom, which is great. Everything should have spotter mirrors. But that's pretty much it for the quick walk around look at this thing. Like I said, it drives decently. It's definitely light years ahead of a old style E-Series van. Even the most modern E-Series vans are just ox carts compared to this. But if you're expecting it to drive like a car, it doesn't, even though it's unibody. It's much more like a truck, but it's still not as refined as the new F-Series truck. A new F-150 just drives so car-like, it's ridiculous, and this thing is definitely more truck-like. But then again, this is a 350 model, so there's some trade-off there. Like I said, I just rented this thing. I have no idea what the payload capacity is on it, and I just have about another 45 minutes before I have to go turn it back in. But that's pretty much just my quick little walk around look at it. I'm going to go grab a creeper now, and we're going to crawl underneath this thing and take a look at the underpinnings, because I've never been underneath one of these. I'd like to see what's going on. So check out, or not check out, watch out for that video a little bit later on in the week. But for now, thanks for checking out the channel. Do all those YouTube things like subscribe and all that, and head over to svtperformance.com and just check out what's going on the site. I always have the latest news, reviews, and information of your favorite Ford performance related vehicles, and sometimes weird utility van stuff.